how to square the circle, which is a question that G8 governments have been struggling with in the past 2 or 3 or even 4 years since the crisis began in 2008. The ideas that have been put forward by François Hollande, but which are some of them pretty consensual and have been sort of floating around for some time, is really to leverage Europe in general rather than deepening any member states' deficit. So there are 2 measures that are pretty consensual, pumping up the European Investment Bank by at least 10 billion euros, which of course then the European Investment Bank can lend with a very strong multiplier effect. And the second one, which is consensual, is to reallocate the European structural funds so that they better serve the objective of growth. 2 other measures are a bit more contentious, or even much more contentious. One is to create a financial transaction tax, meaning increasing revenues at the European level, or if impossible, at the among the member states that will agree with that idea. And the last idea is to issue euro bonds for infrastructure projects. So not to finance more debt, but to have what has been called project bonds. And of course, here I think, once again, the biggest challenge is not whether Hollande can reach a consensus with Angela Merkel. In any case, they don't have a choice. Both of them have to agree on something, and neither of them can afford to be isolated, whether in Europe or in the G8 forum. So we'll most probably see an additional protocol to the Fiscal Compact treaty, if only because Angela Merkel needs the participation of the SPD, of the socialist, of her opposition, in order to ratify the Fiscal Compact treaty. Rather, I think the true questions are whether the measures that will be agreed upon will be enough to actually stimulate growth in Europe and calm down the discontent of public opinions. And the second question is whether Angela Merkel and François Hollande can agree on the next step of European integration, and of course have that decision shared by Italy, Spain, and the others. Just before the election, François Hollande said that our German friends, I quote him, cannot impose a double lock, one on Eurobonds and one on the ICB direct financing of sovereign debts. And yesterday night in Berlin, he said that everything must be put on the table in negotiation with Angela Merkel. So even if that is sort of negotiation posturing before the negotiation actually takes place, there is, I think, a larger question than just the package of growth measures that will be agreed upon, which is the question of what the exact role of the ECB should be, and barring any, and if there is no change in that role, whether the Eurobonds, in order to help countries out of their sovereign debt crisis, should be created. I think this is the real stake of the meetings between Angela Merkel and Hollande. The one of yesterday, the one that will happen on Saturday, and of course next Wednesday. And I think that of course resonates among other G8 members, especially the US, given the high stakes for US growth, especially in the run-up to the November elections.